Hey, good morning, Megan. I'm so happy to have you here today to speak with our audience on tapping into your soul wisdom to create content from your highest self. It's so exciting.
Thanks for having me, Serena. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just give them a little, tell them a little bit about you to get started. And, I know you're an intuitive writing coach and you call yourself a story magician. And from the writings I've seen, you just have beautiful writing and a beautiful way with the words. And I know that you help transformational leaders write conscious content. And you say the book that's in their soul. That's beautiful. And as an empath channel, you connect your clients directly to their audience, allowing them to easily and authentically share their bold message. And that, of course, is something everyone wants to be doing. And Megan is the author of 4 books about the writing process, and she believes writing is everyone's birthright. Fabulous, Megan. So
Yeah, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I encounter so many people who say, I'm not a writer. And my reframe for that is we're all writers. And it's a matter of whether you want to do it. So if you want to be doing it, you get to, and it gets to be easy. It gets to be in flow.
yeah, I love that. I totally love that. And of course, we all want to write in flow. And I know that you're an expert in helping people do that. So, you talk about conscious content. Would you tell us a little bit about what is that and why is important for soul-led leaders?
Absolutely. Conscious content is marketing content that comes from your highest self and speaks to the highest self of the people you want to reach. And what I mean by that is it empowers them to take an active role in their transformation and to say, yes, I want that. That does sound like what I've been seeking. That would support me in taking my next step. And the reason it's so important is because it is what we need in this new paradigm, right? The old marketing paradigm is I'm going to browbeat you until you buy my thing. I'm going to make you feel guilty if you don't buy my thing. I'm going to play on your fears. I'm going to talk to your reptilian brain and say, if you don't buy this car or this course, you're not really whatever it is, the thing we're most afraid of.
Yeah.
And, we still see that kind of marketing for a lot of products that are out in the world. And we are kind of used to seeing them. But I think soul-led business owners really tune those out and just don't even respond. And people are becoming very awake to the fact that a lot of the ways we've been sold, a lot of the ways we've been marketed to actually are really traumatic. They trigger trauma responses. We have these feelings of, oh my gosh, if I don't do what this expert is saying or buy her whatever, I'm playing small or I'm not living up to my potential or my business is just a hobby. And, a deep part of us feels fearful and that we aren't worthy. And, so here are these people with light to offer, but the way they're marketing it is caught up in all these old paradigms. And I don't have any shame or blame or, wrong or judgment. This is the way we all witnessed marketing. This is what we learned was the way to sell. So there's zero, oh, you shouldn't do that. But there's this beautiful opportunity here now to say, oh, the new space we're in is people are really aware and they want to be connecting online. And so when we speak to them consciously and say, hey, there's this opportunity for you to shine your light even more, for you to do that thing that you came here to do. Would you like to do it with me? And then they get an opportunity to say yes from an empowered place. I see that as the future of online business. I see that as the future of the world. I see that as the future of content generally. Even if you're not selling something online, the kind of content we all want to be part of and be around and consume on social media is content that creates more consciousness, more awareness, and more light, right?
Absolutely. I'm 100% there with you. And I think that, yes, we've learned these old ways of doing business, and we're right now in this transition, moving into this new paradigm. And of course, that's part of why we're doing this event, is to give people some direction and help with creating that new paradigm that we're so excitedly creating now, that is so much more respectful of each other and so much more compassionate and aware of how people can get so easily triggered. So I think you're right on the mark with what you're doing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I wondered, maybe you could share with us, and how can people get started with creating content that comes from their highest self?
Yeah, absolutely. My best advice is to pause and listen. Like really truly get quiet. If you have a meditation practice you're already using, start there. If you don't, close your eyes, plant your feet on the ground, and just take 3 deep breaths and tap into what is it that your heart is really longing to share. And what this will do immediately is allow you to use your empathy as a superpower in your marketing. I work with transformational coaches, and they tend to be so brilliantly tuned in to their audience, to their own intuition. And yet, when we go to create content, a lot of times we're here, right? We're in our heads. We are thinking, okay, what would be strategic? I got to analyze this. What's the best thing I could write about right now? So drop into your body and let your heart, just asking the question, what does my audience need to hear right now? What would light them up? What would inspire them? What is my audience holding that feels so heavy right now? And I could just invite them to set it down. And then maybe you're inspired about, oh gosh, yeah, there's this myth that so many people buy into. And if I could address that, that would give people more hope and more agency and more, a feeling that they're closer to the solution. So my best advice for creating content more consciously and feeling confident about where to start is start with what's true for you in your heart. And when I work with clients one-on-one, I take them through deeper work to also connect with their soul clients, and we get to listen to exactly what they would say. And that's something people can do on their own as well. Again, through meditation, just through deep breathing, through listening, right? Really being present. Just when you have interactions with your clients or with people in your audience, taking notes. Oh gosh, what keeps coming up is this. People keep saying, X, Y, and Z, and I could absolutely speak to that in a piece of content. So you are coming from your heart, and you're also listening and allowing your audience really to direct where your content goes, because you're speaking to the things that are top of mind for them, that are the challenges they're encountering or the desires that they really have. And then the pressure's off of you.
Right. Well, what strikes me about that as you're speaking is not only is the pressure off of you, but you have now made content creation into a healing process, into a transformational process, because you are actually tuning in and asking, what is it my audience needs? What will speak to their heart? And, you're responding to what they're feeling in the moment, and that's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you for framing it that way. Yeah, that's so lovely. And then if you are telling the stories about yourself and your own journey that your audience will relate to, then there's that additional level of healing, right? Where you get to go, I can talk about my growth in this area, or what I did that was so helpful. And you get that connection through story, that self-healing, that helping others heal. It's a heal fest. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it reframe. Let's think about marketing as being a healing process, both for the person who's creating the marketing, for the people who are receiving that marketing content. That's a much more beautiful way to approach working with your business and working with other people.
Oh, it just feels so good. I just got chills in my whole body. Like when you step into a warm jacuzzi and you're like,
there you go with those beautiful metaphors. You just can't stay away from them. So,
it really is truly how I naturally think. And who would have thought that this is a marketable skill, a valuable skill? My whole life, metaphors are what come naturally. It's how I process information. I need that concrete picture. I need that vision to understand the idea. And then it just turns out it's great for copywriting. So when I can give those to people for their copy, when I'm in session with a client and they describe it and I say, oh, that's kind of like if you had a dog sled, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, yes.
Yes, so you're getting to use your soul powers, your soul gifts, your soul genius to help other people to bring their genius to the world as well. It's really a beautiful synergy. And, but I want to talk a little bit about, there's the tension between consistency and feeling inspired, because we all feel like we need to be consistent and we need to put out business content. We need to keep the connection so that, because we live in a crazy world that's got a lot of distraction. And so sometimes people tend to force themselves to write. So what do you say about that consistency and feeling inspired and how to work with that?
Yeah. Oh, I love the word consistency because we use it all the time and yet we never question what it means. So the first thing I would recommend is really get clear. What do I mean when I say consistent? Some people have heard the messaging, you have to post on social media every day. Well, I haven't done that and I haven't died yet and my business is growing. It's like, in what sense do I have to do that? So first, define consistency. And you may already just feel a weight release because you may go, oh yeah, for me, it's not a priority to be doing it every day or multiple times a day even. And then you can refine even more. And I think what most of us truly want when we think of consistency is not that we're doing it all of the time, regularly, but that we have regular impact. Right? Isn't that really what we mean when we say, I want to be showing up consistently, meaning people know I'm there and they don't forget about me because I disappear for weeks at a time. So that might mean you write a lot of content at one point ahead of time, and then you post it to go out, later on. It might mean that you're consistently connecting with people and commenting on what they're doing and interacting, and that you're putting time on your calendar to be 20 minutes every day or 20 minutes twice a week, reaching out and making those connections with people. How does that consistency feel? So question what you mean by consistency, get a definition, set an intention. And then I would really recommend to people to make a distinction between when they're writing and when they're sharing. Because if you do want to be sharing every day, it still doesn't mean you need to be writing every day. So when you make that separation, then you can say, well, I know that I usually have a lot of time, a lot of creative energy at this time of the moon cycle, or at this time of my internal cycle, or when I'm doing these other things in my business, or when this is happening in my life, right then. And then share it based on your intention of when you want to be showing up, so that you get to still show up, be regular, be seen, have people feel like you're there, that you didn't just fall off the face of social media, but you're choosing when you're putting that creative energy in.
So this is so in alignment with simplifying and soulifying your success, and what I teach, which is designing your business to really suit you, to be part of to align with your heart, with your soul, and to know that when you're doing that, you're bringing your gift to the world in the way that you're meant to bring your gift to the world. And that's really what you're saying here, is that, there's no set way to be consistent. It really is tuning into your own rhythms and your own being, and your clients, and what's right for them, and presenting it in that way. And I just love that.
And I think consistency is sometimes a word we conflate with integrity, but I bet everybody listening would rather have integrity. And so what I mean by that is, we think there's a benefit from consistency because it's like, well, people are seeing I'm serious and I'm showing up and I'm doing it. But do you want to be showing up and writing or creating content from an empty cup, or from those days when you just don't have that flow and it feels forced, versus, oh, I want integrity, which means I am showing up and writing when I have that energy to give, and creating not just rhythms that work for me in my business, but also my best energy for the clients I'm serving, for the audience I'm serving. Mm-hmm. I think if faced with the choice between consistency or integrity, we'd all go for integrity, but we just may not be framing it to ourselves that way.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But that's part of this creating of a new paradigm is how are we going to frame these things and how are we going to see these things and how are we going to create businesses going forward that are meant for human beings to thrive with. And so it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a gift also for the audience, and I'd love to hear you tell us a little bit about what you have for everyone to benefit from.
Yeah, I have a training called Connect and Convert with Conscious Content. And in this training, I go in depth into the principles of conscious content. I share the 4 key principles to focus on as you're creating content that will, spoiler, come very naturally for soul-led business owners. I love it because this is really a time for empaths, for highly sensitive people, for intuitives, to have an edge because of our ability to connect. So the training takes you through how to use your superpowers as an empath to be creating content that converts. And I talk about what it means to convert and what this looks like in content. I share examples and I share some what I call easy essential content types that you can use regardless of what your business is, whether you're a coach or a consultant or you do done for you services. If you're helping somebody through a really major transformation with your work, then you can be using these kinds of content to start connecting and feeling more that you are speaking from your highest self to your audience's higher self.
That's fabulous. And it is true that people that are already connected do have some advantage. And basically the new paradigm of business asks for us to connect. And if we don't have that, to create that connection with our higher self and with our soul and our being so that we can fulfill the part that we're here to play on the planet in this creation of our new world. So I think the work that you're doing is very exciting. And I'm so delighted that you were able to be here today and to offer your wisdom to our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure. Always. I love your work and I'm just so happy that we could have a little conversation around it and make sure that you get Megan's free gift. I know that it'll be really helpful to you in your business. And on that note, we'll just say, have a beautiful day.
Take care, everybody.